Hello my dear friends, in this video we will be discussing about neutralization reaction. That means what is it? What are the products formed? What is the nature of the product? That means whether it is acidic, neutral or basic, and of course the applications of the neutralization reaction. So before starting with the topic, I would like to ask you a question that if you have eaten something very spicy, then what would you like to have after that particular food so as to get relief? So you will answer that you would either like to have a piece of a chocolate or you can even have a slice of a bread. So actually what are you doing is you are trying to cancel the effect of that spicy food which you have eaten by eating something sweet. So neutralization reaction is also working on a similar kind of a thing, where we can say that neutralization reaction is a reaction where the two reactants are trying to cancel each other's effect. Now what are those two reactants? So in a neutralization reaction, a base and an acid react together. That means these two are the reactants and the products formed are salt and water. Now let me explain you this by taking an example. Now I am taking base. Suppose I have taken sodium hydroxide as the base and the acid is HCl, that is hydrochloric acid. So these two are the reactants. Now the question comes, what will be the products formed? Now as we know that bases give hydroxide ion in the solution, acids give hydrogen ion in the solution, and these two different kind of ions combine together to form water. That is why one of the product as a result of neutralization reaction is water. So I can remove these two and I can write down water here. So whenever an acid and a base reacts, it is a kind of a neutralization reaction where water is one of the products. Now coming to this part, that means what kind of salt is formed here. So for that, what are you supposed to do is you have to pick the name of the cation which is left behind in the base. So cation is sodium ion and the anion which is left in the acid is the chloride ion. So combine these two, you will get the name of the salt, putting the cation's name first. So sodium chloride will be the name of the salt formed. So sodium chloride is the salt which is formed when sodium hydroxide combines with hydrochloric acid. Now how do we get the formula for sodium chloride? You need to check one of the videos which I have shared earlier regarding the derivation of the chemical formula using the crisscross method. So if you use that crisscross method, we will get the formula of sodium chloride as NaCl. So this means that an acid and a base combines to form salt and water, and this is a neutralization reaction. This is one example which I have discussed with you. Here we have the name of the salt, here we have the formula of the salt. Now coming to the next step, what is the nature of this salt? Now whenever we want to find out the nature of the salt, we cannot every time go for the use of the indicators. So we have to go to the reactants. What is the nature of this reactant? What is the nature of this reactant? And on the basis of these two reactants, we will come to know about the nature of this particular salt. This is the list of strong and weak acids and bases for your reference which you need to learn. Sodium hydroxide is a strong base, whereas HCl is a strong acid. So strong base and strong acid result in the formation of a neutral salt. Now let me take another example. Now in the second example, I am taking calcium hydroxide as the base, and again I am taking the same acid, that is HCl. So one of the product will be water, that is H2O, because base will be giving hydroxide ion in the solution. Acid will be giving hydrogen ion in the solution. Now pick up the cation's name from here and anion's name from here. So you get the name as calcium chloride. So we will first write down the name of the salt, that is calcium chloride. Then follow the crisscross method and we get the formula of the salt as CaCl2. We know that calcium hydroxide is a weak base and HCl is a strong acid. So since acid is strong here, so the resultant salt will be showing the acidic nature. So our salt is acidic in nature. Since it is acidic in nature, it will turn blue litmus to red. Now let me take the third example. So in the third example, I am taking potassium hydroxide as the base. Sulfuric acid is the acid here. Now water will be one of the products, so I can write down H2O here. Coming to the name of the salt, we have potassium here, sulfate here. So potassium sulfate will be the name of the salt, and then by crisscross method, we get to know that the formula is K2SO4. Now, again, to find out the nature of this particular salt formed, so KOH, that is potassium hydroxide, is a strong base. Then H2SO4 is again a strong acid. So the salt formed will be neutral. Now taking one more example, I have taken magnesium hydroxide as the base, nitric acid is the acid here. Now let us check the products. One of the product will be again H2O. Name of the salt will be magnesium nitrate and formula will be MgNO3 whole twice. So this is again one more example of a neutralization reaction. Now here we have the base, that is magnesium hydroxide is a weak base. HNO3 is a strong acid. So the salt formed will be acidic in nature. Now every time whenever you get any kind of a neutralization reaction, you cannot have these colored papers, right? So what you are supposed to do is, suppose these are the two neutralization reactions which are given to you for completion. So what you have to do is, in each of these reactions, first take the base, encircle OH in the base, encircle H atoms in the acid, irrespective of the number of the atoms that are given. Again here in this case, I am encircling both. Now these two will combine to form water. So here we can write down H2O. In this case also we can write down H2O. Now coming to the product formation, that is what salt will be formed. The name of the salt will be aluminium carbonate. So by crisscross method you will get Al2CO3 whole thrice. Now in second example you have zinc here, sulfate here. So name of the salt will be zinc sulfate and formula by crisscross method will be ZnSO4. So when you encircle OH in base and H atoms in acid, it becomes easier for you to find out the name of the salt. Now coming to the last topic, that is applications. There are many applications of neutralization reaction in our daily life. One such example is agriculture, then indigestion, and then ant bite. There are few others also. For example, in agriculture, sometimes due to acid rain or due to excessive use of the fertilizer, the soil becomes acidic in nature. So farmers can reduce the acidity of the soil by adding calcium hydroxide, which is a base. So the acidic content of the soil gets neutralized with this base and the crops get saved from being destroyed. Now we all know that our stomach releases hydrochloric acid, which helps in the process of digestion. But sometimes overproduction of hydrochloric acid takes place which can cause acidity in stomach. This acidity is painful also. Now, removal of this acidity is very important. So for this we take antacid tablets like Digene and Eno. These antacid tablets, they contain magnesium hydroxide, which is a mild base, and it can neutralize the effect of the excess acid which is produced in the stomach. Third example is ant bite. We all know that sting of the ant contains formic acid. Now this can be cured by rubbing soap, which is basic in nature. Even the paste of baking powder can also be rubbed on that affected site so as to get the relief, as it will reduce the pain and it will heal it more quickly. So I hope that this particular topic is clear to you. Thank you. Take care.